This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Today marks 1 year since Russia's invasion of Ukraine began. For Ukrainians in our province, this has been a year of heartbreak, a year of uneasiness, but also a year of solidarity. Ukrainians have banded together and, with all Manitobans, welcomed thousands of Ukrainians who've fled their home country. A rally is underway right now at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. Let's go now live to CBC's Riley Lachuk, who joins us. Riley, what's happening right now?
Well, Janet, things are just getting underway here at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. We've already got a crowd, several hundred deep, gathered here outside of the museum right now. This is one of several events that are taking place not only here in Manitoba, but really right around the world in terms of rallies in solidarity with Ukraine as we mark 1 year since Russia's invasion began. Now, tonight we are going to be having a rally outside, which is about to get underway any moment now. There's also a new digital art exhibition called Ukrainian Artists United, which is going to be opened up inside the museum a little later on this evening. For more, I spoke with one of the organizers of this rally. Here's a bit of what he had to say. Tell me a bit about what this rally means to you tonight.
So this rally is to commemorate 1 year of the Russian invasion, 365 days of Ukraine's resistance to this attack, and just to show solidarity. And we're one of hundreds of rallies occurring around the world, and so everyone has to do their part to let the government know, to let everyone know that that we need to keep supporting Ukraine.
When you think 1 year, 365 days, what goes through your mind?
It's crazy in 2023 for stuff like this to happen. This is, I think the first time that social media and everything's been that close to the front line, and the stuff that's coming back is outrageous. It's terrible, and it shouldn't be happening in today's world.
What do you want to see governments do, whether it be federal, provincial, governments around the world? What needs to happen?
They need to provide more aid, more support, the military weapons that Ukraine needs to defend itself and push out the invaders. Defensive weapons, they're targeting civilian infrastructure, they're targeting things that make it difficult for civilians to live. They're torture, rape, genocide. We've seen the images, and so whatever Ukraine needs to push these invaders out.
What's your message for Manitobans, for Canadians who are watching?
Don't be apathetic on this. We need to keep our attention on it, our focus on it, and we can't just move on. This is something that we need to keep the pressure on. We need to keep supporting Ukraine long term. This isn't going to end in a week or two. They have their claws into Ukraine, and they need to be pushed out.
Thank you so much for taking some time tonight.
Great, thank you so much.
Riley, as you mentioned, there are events happening around the country, around the world. What else is happening in Manitoba to mark this milestone?
Well, Janet, a rally, a march similar to this one got underway in Brandon not long ago. We're also going to see events happening really throughout the weekend here in Winnipeg. There will be a march, a peace walk happening tomorrow. We also have prayer services happening throughout the weekend at Ukrainian churches here in Winnipeg and across the province. Now, as for this event here tonight, people are still streaming in. We're seeing people begin to spill out onto the street in front of me here. That's how many people have showed up to this event tonight, and we are expecting it to get underway really any moment now, Janet.
Riley Lachuk, thank you for this. That's CBC's Riley Lachuk reporting live from outside the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. Manitoba is now the 6th province to sign a new healthcare funding deal with the federal government. Billions of dollars have been earmarked over 10 years to help address priority areas in our healthcare system. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, one family knows where they'd like to see some of that money spent.
71-year-old Rene Como likes to stay active and play with his grandkids. The longtime volunteer would normally be busy helping at Festival de Voyageurs this week, but his family says he hasn't been able to. He's had a 20-month wait for knee replacement surgery and finally went for it on Friday.
So to see him stuck to a chair for almost 3 years. It's been very hard.
His surgery comes the same day the province reached an agreement in principle with the federal government to help fix the healthcare system. Renee's wife Anita and daughter Leanne Wilkinson say his wait was too long and beyond the national benchmark for knee replacement of 6 months.
We basically said, put us on a cancellation list. We'll be there as soon as we get called. Well, it was not a matter of being on a cancellation list because it would be the hospital that would cancel surgeries because there was no staff.
The family hopes a new deal between Manitoba and Ottawa on healthcare funding helps address surgical backlogs. Renee still needs surgery on his other knee. The family has been told that's supposed to happen within a year of his first surgery here at Grace Hospital. The bilateral deal would see $6.74 billion sent to the province over 10 years, including $1.2 billion for shared priorities and $72 million to address urgent needs, including in pediatric hospitals, emergency rooms, and long wait times for surgeries. The Premier says it's still not enough, and it's still not known exactly how the money will be used within the healthcare system.
The next little while we'll be entering into those discussions with the federal government. The federal government also, no money would flow until their budget anyway.
The federal government says it wants to see improvements in family medicine, staffing, and mental health and addiction services. Como and Wilkinson hope fewer people have to wait as long as Renee did for his surgery.
He loves to go in the garage with my son and they like to build things together. You know, right now that time is very limited. You know, he'll still do it. Like, whether he's in pain or not, he'll still go in there.
Pain they feel he's suffered for far too long. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Unless something changes quickly, by the end of March, more than half the members of the Manitoba Government and General Employees Union will be without a contract. 17,000 people in total. Most of these workers are members of the Provincial Public Service. In order to gain some leverage with the province, the union is now looking for strike mandates.
Nobody wants to be on strike. No employer wants their employees on strike, but we're giving them the tools. We're upping our strike pay. We're adding the ability to do targeted strikes so we can actually take on different, because we learned from watching other unions across this country that that's something that works well.
No.
I know of it, Bill.
The provincial government says it is hoping to reach agreements with all of its MGEU bargaining units. Manitoba's PC government is ending a 6-year freeze on funding for municipalities. Cities and towns are happy about this, even though some of them are getting more money than others. CBC's Bartley Kivas explains.
The last Friday in February is as good a time as any for Premier Heather Stephenson to turn over a new leaf. For the past 6 years, her PC government has frozen the pot of money it hands over to cities, towns, and rural municipalities, from Winnipeg up to Churchill and everywhere in between. But the long freeze is now over.
Today, I am pleased to announce a 28% increase in the municipal operating grant.
This works out to an additional $47 million, with the lion's share, $30 million, going to Winnipeg. But in percentage terms, Manitoba's largest municipality is receiving the smallest funding hike. Winnipeg is getting 25% more provincial money, while other municipalities are getting an average hike of 61%, with the highest being the RM of Cornwallis, outside Brandon. It gets a 78% hike. The city of Winnipeg, however, is just happy the province is opening up the taps.
There's some good things happening. Again, is the dollar number the one we were hoping for or looking for? Probably not. But again, there's still other stuff, I think, to come.
The PC government says it used a formula to determine what they're giving different municipalities.
Every municipality has different needs. A lot of them do have some similar challenges, but everyone has their own needs.
This is just the latest in a series of provincial funding announcements, and more may be on the way. A provincial election is slated for October 3rd. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A Winnipeg man is hoping he can get the provincial government to repay millions of dollars in photo radar fines. William Atchison has filed a statement of claim saying speeders were overcharged for 4 years to the tune of at least $36 million. One of the lawyers for the proposed class action says the province's rules stipulated fines would only begin once the speed limit was exceeded by 10 kilometers an hour.
The government instead charged drivers for every kilometer per hour over the limit for those that received these fines. So they basically ignored that buffer zone that was, specifically listed in the regulation.
Upwards of 470,000 tickets could be impacted if this case goes forward. Now, a court date has not been set. The province says it cannot comment on this issue or this case because it is before the courts. People living in a downtown Winnipeg hotel have been told they have to leave. The Windsor Hotel has been sold. More than 20 people living there received eviction notices earlier this month. As CBC's Cameron McLean reports, it's another loss for low-income renters in this city.
It's not too fair, but I mean, at least it's not as cold as it would be.
John Olenek has lived at the Windsor Hotel for more than a year. Now he and at least 20 other people who live there have until the end of April to find somewhere else to live.
I mean, there's some people that stay here that haven't left the building. So, I mean, for those people, it's going to be hard for them, right?
Olenek says he has had trouble finding housing in the past. Closing the Windsor will take 43 low-cost units off the market.
We all knew this day was going to come one day. I used to live at the Winnipeg as well.
The closing of the Windsor Hotel and the loss of these units is part of an ongoing trend in Winnipeg. Last year, a report from McMaster University found that the city lost more than 24,000 units with rents under $750 between 2011 and 2021.
That includes the Winnipeg Hotel on Main Street, which closed for renovations in 2019. Kate Schoberg works with Main Street Project, which has been helping tenants from the Windsor facing eviction. She says hotels fill an important role in the low-income housing market.
So the pressure for people who are losing their housing who are low income is extreme right now. There are not options. As a city, we've lost tremendous amounts of downtown hotel spaces where people have been living over the last 20 years.
A spokesperson for the city said the hotel is being sold because the owner has not paid their property taxes. An online listing put the price at $2.5 million. The 120-year-old Windsor Hotel has a colorful history. It served as an incubator for the city's music scene and hosted many legendary artists, but now its future is uncertain. One city councillor wants a system to alert agencies like Main Street Project when mass evictions happen.
I definitely want to make sure that where we have preventative models, we're really exercising them on behalf of residents.
So people like John Olenek can get help the next time a Winnipeg hotel closes. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg's Nigerian community will be watching very closely what's happening back home. Nigeria's general presidential election begins this weekend. As CBC's Abimbola Oduniyi reports, people in the community say the outcome will have a big impact on loved ones back home.
This Saturday, Nigerians will go out to cast their ballots in the upcoming Nigerian elections. This will determine who would rule the nation for the next 4 years.
There are 3 candidates who are standing out from the 18 running. Nigerians all over the world, including here in Winnipeg, are invested in this election. Many say it's the most crucial election to take place in years.
I think this election is crucial because Nigeria is either on the brink of fail or pass. And then if the decisions are made correctly, it could see improvements in Nigerian situation by probably 10 to 15%.
Over 200 million people, Nigeria is Africa's most populous nation. Of that, 93 million people are registered to vote. 40% of that number are 35 and younger. Young people are invested in this election like never before.
The youths are now like taking the bull by the horn and saying, no, look, it is time for us. It is time for us to be part of this. Gone are the days that you'll be saying we are too young.
Many are hoping that the new president would tackle head-on the major issues including high unemployment rate, ongoing labor issues, economic instability, and insecurity and safety amidst ongoing kidnappings and violence.
Sometimes people are scared to take the railway because of state of security. The state of our roads, we expect that they will fix that in terms of the infrastructure.
With a lot hanging on this election, many hope for significant changes.
We expect as people in diaspora that the leaders, the new president will be able to bring all these things together, bring everything on the table, and so that we'll be able to have a common front, from economics to sport to politics to socio-cultural dynamics to being frontliners in the global economy.
The country will have a new president for the first time in 8 years. Many Nigerians will have to wait for the results to come out. It is anticipated to take a couple of days for all the ballots to be counted. Abimbola Oduni, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Some Winnipeggers enjoyed music last night while also raising money for earthquake survivors in the Middle East. Syrian and Kurdish musicians hosted a night of music and art, raising money for Syrians who survived that massive earthquake 2 weeks ago and the aftershocks that have followed. Organizers say Winnipeggers, as always, did not hesitate to show their support.
I've been personally in a very dark time, and with my community and with my people, we've going through a lot. And they were always like making sure they check on us, making sure they support us, they care, they show their care.
The last night event will be going to the Mennonite Central Committee, which is on the ground helping survivors. Our weather specialist Fiona Odlum joins us once again. Hi, Fiona.
Hi, Janet. You know, last Friday you and I were talking about Hey-Ho and the kickoff to Festival, and you know, we were thinking about the coldest festival on record.
That's
this
right.
might be one of them. This week has been incredibly cold. The coldest day was Wednesday, where our daytime high got to -22 only.
Oh dear.
We should be at -6.
Oh, we are going to get closer to those
There.
temperatures.
We're going to get there for the last day of Festival. Let's take a look at our current temperature, though, where we're sitting at -19 right now. Wind chill feels like -28, so still really cold. A mostly cloudy sky with us right now. A really light wind. That's not going to be a big storyteller over the next couple of days. So we're going to take a live look now at our satellite radar, where we can see just this little drift of snow that's just moving north of Winnipeg. So right now we do have about a 30% chance of saying that we do have some snow in our forecast. It's a very light dusting of snow. Looks really as if it's going to be hitting mostly towards Lake Winnipeg and Lake Manitoba, and just this little shower across Winnipeg. So it's not going to be a huge factor. And again, with that wind being so light, not a big playmaker either. What we do want to notice, though, is this wind. You see these lines coming up here? This is that south wind, and it's really starting to move in from the west and up like that. So that's bringing a change, and that's why we have said goodbye to those extreme cold warnings, because we're starting to see this flush of warm air coming towards us, clearing things out tomorrow afternoon. Going to see lots of sunshine, but then cloud coming back in over the course of the evening. And then for Sunday, we have a big, huge game changer coming towards us in the evening. You can see it over my shoulder here, coming in from northern Alberta. This is going to be a factor for the northern portion of the province. But let's take a look through the southern area and see what we could see for some snow. So we saw that drifting snow on the radar there, so maybe a centimeter, may pick up a little bit over the course of the evening, but it really seems to dump most of the snow over towards northwestern Ontario with 2 centimeters to Dryden and Sioux Lookout area with 3 centimeters. I was mentioning the wind's not a huge factor. You're going to see that the needle doesn't really move too much here. We see a couple little blips here and there, but not a lot of wind for us tonight and into tomorrow. Sunday, we could see a little bit of some gusty wind popping in around here to Dauphin, all the way into the Interlake region, gusts into the 40s, possible 50s, all coming up from the south there, so still bringing all that warm air. So tonight at midnight, we're going to sit at minus 21. We're going to be watching for a wind chill value still into the minus 30s. So definitely plug in your vehicle again tonight and plug yourself in with a good winter jacket, and minus 23 first thing in the morning. Now, we are going to see increasing cloud at lunchtime, but then we're going to clear that away and see some sunshine. Let's take a look at our forecast here now. So for Sunday, this is the huge change in transition of temperatures. This brings us back to it towards those seasonal values where we should be around minus 6, minus 7 as a daytime high. And then our overnight lows, this is definitely warmer. But I have to say, it's kind of interesting, Janet. The Saturday of the last February, Saturday in February, cold, and then the Sunday is warm. That summarizes February.
It kind of does, huh? Thanks, Fiona. We'll check in with you again a little bit later.
Sounds good.
Well, as you know, the war in Ukraine has killed many, many people. It has disrupted thousands of lives and dashed dreams. Thousands of people have found refuge here in Manitoba, including in Steinbach. The CBC's Ian Fraze explains now how some of those Ukrainians are being comforted by their Christian faith.
The music coming from this church can soothe the soul. Some Ukrainians fleeing the war are coveting that music and the fellowship. Nadia Bondarchuk is speaking through a translator, her older sister.
This is very important because this is the part of my normal world before the war happened.
The 17-year-old Ukrainian should be in medical school by now, but the war ruined her plans. Her sister Olga says this Steinbach church gives Nadia comfort.
Faith is something that helps her to carry through all the tough moments and tough situations in life, and just gives hope and helps, to see the light in the end of the tunnel.
Every weekend, dozens of Ukrainians congregate inside this church in Steinbach. It's a reality now after the number of Ukrainian refugees grew, but it wasn't always this way. They started out by meeting in someone's home.
We had 3 families.
Nikolai Usach is pastor of the Ukrainian Slavic Church. When displaced Ukrainians started coming to Steinbach, he knew he could help. And to accommodate the new families, his congregation moved from his home to the basement of the Steinbach Mennonite Brethren Church.
I think my happiness is to serve people, to help people.
Usually they're in the basement, but on a recent Sunday, they worshiped in the main sanctuary for a special service, attracting guests from other provinces and the U.S.
1 year ago, nobody knew that anybody would be coming into this church building to meet either for worship or just for connecting with each other. Nobody had an inkling. Here we are 1 year further down, and I look back and I say, praise God. We've responded to a huge, huge need.
Others in Steinbach are hosting families, providing rides, and offering breaks on rent. It's estimated that up to 350 Ukrainian refugees have come to Steinbach this past year.
It reminds us that our calling is to be a welcoming community for all.
Bondarchuk is grateful Steinbach answered that call.
And having that group that knows your background, that talks the same language that you talk, it means the world to you.
It's support she can lean on when times are tough. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Steinbach, Manitoba.
We'll have more on marking the 1-year anniversary and the resilience of Ukrainians after the break. We'll be right back. When Russia invaded Ukraine 1 year ago, it was widely feared the country would fall within weeks, even days. But that did not happen. Ukrainians have shown incredible resilience in the face of lopsided odds. CBC's Abby Kuhavasan looks at today's commemorations and the 12 months that have led to them.
Державний прапор України! Струнко!
In St. Sophia Square in Kyiv, the Ukrainian president told those defending the country,
Я пишаюся вами.
he is proud of them. He honored those who fight and those who once fought, presenting Heroes of Ukraine awards to relatives of slain soldiers.
Всім добрий вечір. Лідер фракції тут.
This was Volodymyr Zelensky a year ago in the Ukrainian capital, refusing to leave, telling the U.S. he needed weapons, not a ride. And Ukrainian civilians were seen standing up to Russian tanks, resisting invaders who were told they'd be welcomed with open arms. Showing the man in the Kremlin they are not loyal subjects. Those sounds and images of resistance were soon replaced with Bucha, the site of alleged Russian war crimes. Residents gathered today to remember their loved ones, including Irina. She'd buried her son herself in March after he'd been shot dead on his way to work. Thousands of kilometers away, deep support for Ukraine in Brussels and Georgia and Tokyo and New York. A moment of silence at 10 Downing Street, while NATO and EU officials paid their respects in Estonia.
It was a year of endurance, a year of compassion, a year of bravery, a year of pain, a year of hope, a year of perseverance, a year of unity, a year of invincibility. Its main conclusion is that we have survived. We have not been defeated.
President Zelensky says the resistance that began 365 days ago will endure. He vows Ukraine will achieve victory this year. Abby Kuhavasan, CBC News, London.
Canadian troops are training Ukrainian soldiers right now on the battle tanks Ottawa is sending and on some of the basics of warfare and its tactics. That's happening in places outside Ukraine like Poland and England. CBC's Susan Ormiston visited one of the training centres in the southern UK.
At dawn in the damp English air, soldiers from Canada, Britain and Ukraine stood shoulder to shoulder. A symbol of the international solidarity which has kept Ukraine in the fight with Russia for a year.
We gather in a somber mood. Perhaps we are worried, anxious, or frightened.
But the sunrise parade at this British training camp was only a pause before the day's intensive training. Basic infantry skills, learning to clear one building to the next, recreating urban warfare. Similar to fierce battles going on right now in places like Bakhmut. Ukraine can't fight and train fast enough to feed this hungry war, so they send recruits here and to Germany and Poland. Canadian forces, part of Operation Unifier, along with British trainers, are trying to ready the next generation of soldiers.
The trainers are extremely motivated to pass the best information as possible, and the trainees are extremely responsive to the training and pay attention and learn as much as possible.
The objective here is to make these Ukrainian soldiers as lethal as possible in a short amount of time, 5 weeks, not long. And 1 year into this war, most of them have just signed up to the military. Vlad is 26, from Mykolaiv, and joined just a month ago. He was in tech, a graphic designer, and now you're a soldier.
Yeah.
Had you ever fired a gun like that before?
Yeah.
He signed on after a friend on the front lines was captured. Are you afraid?
Звісно.
Of course. Now, for the first time, Vlad and other recruits are firing live ammunition, coached by a Canadian soldier helped by an interpreter. But Ukraine needs much more training and lethal weaponry if it hopes to win the war. There's no shortage of motivation.
It's an honor to see the way that they have taken on the training that these Canadian soldiers have offered them.
Ukraine!
Year 2 of this invasion, and they are determined to survive. Susan Ormiston, CBC News in Kent, England.
Kitchen appliance company Kosori is recalling more than 2 million air fryer units because of a fire hazard. Air Canada is telling people if you have one of these things, stop using it immediately. They've been determined that the wire connections can overheat. The company's received 56 reports in Canada of units overheating, melting, and catching fire. In Canada, more than 250,000 units are affected. They were sold between March of 2019 and last December. Still ahead, we're going to visit a hockey rink with a view like no other. See how a CBC crew may have had just a little too much fun on the job. Plus, Fiona will join us with your Manitoba forecast. We'll be right back after the break. For anyone who loves to skate, that push and glide can make you feel on top of the world. A new rink in Montreal underlines that feeling. CBC's Jay Turnbull reports.
For me, it doesn't get much more Canadian than this. Cold day in Montreal, you chuck on the toque, your gloves, grab a puck, stick and skates, off you go to the local rink. Today, I'm going to show you my skills on top of what must be one of the highest rinks in the country. Let's take a look. It's up there, way up there, 7 stories above the street, a rink with a view like no other. And probably the cutest little Zamboni you've ever seen. Cameraman Dave couldn't get enough. The ice is high. The talent level? Not always. But I'm pretty sure we know why the fans are here. I'm a bit of a crowd pleaser. I guess they call me Tutu now. Whatever, it's fine. I might not be the most talented player, but I'm known to get pucks in deep, give 110%, and my intensity level is off the charts.
Let's go! Dang it! Is that goal regulation size or what?
The altitude must be affecting my game. The architects of this building wanted to try something new to attract companies to rent office space and thought it could optimize the roof.
To offer something else than just the usual weightlifting, yoga, training, jogging, all of that. So let's offer something else where, it's basketball court in the summer. You can play deck hockey, basketball. You can actually play tennis.
Anyone can pay to rent the ice here. Workers renting office space can play in an intramural hockey league during the day.
It's amazing condition. You have a view on the Mont Royal, amazing skate rink.
Yeah, it's paradise.
So I guess I come here every day to skate, and then this morning I did a yoga class. It creates synergy inside our teams.
The developers feel this is the wave of the future, that offering services like this rink and a gym, yoga and boxing classes, plus a terrace with the occasional DJ, will become more popular to attract people back to office buildings. I can't say I'm not jealous, but now it's my time to shine high above the streets of the city. Jay Turnbull, CBC News, Montreal.
We enjoyed that story so much. We're starting to think about, is there roof space
Yeah,
up
what do we
there?
got up there? Move a couple of those dishes over. No
The
problem.
satellite
Oh,
dishes?
Yeah.
What do we need those for?
Yeah. That was great. Okay, I've got 2 great viewer photos. In our meeting, I said 1. No, I got 2. Ooh. We got to check these out. All right, our first one comes from Niverville, and that's Katie on her snowmobile at the perfect sunset. I love this photo. Thank you so much, Katie, for sharing that one with us. And wait for this, a Canada Lynx. Michael Morris from Holowado First Nation sent me this. Listen, if I saw that out in the woods, I would run so fast. Michael said that he was nervous too, but mostly that he was going to miss the shot. You didn't. Well done. All right, current conditions, -21 in Steinbach, -17 in Eli right now. Nice light wind, a little drift of snow coming through just north of Winnipeg, heading towards Gimli and the Fraserwood area, -23 in Churchill right now. You're a little bit breezy right now in Churchill. You've had some issues with wind throughout the day. Now, this extreme cold warning, this did cover all of Manitoba. It had Saskatchewan and Alberta. It was still purple today, but we went nice and clear first thing this morning, and we are going to stay that way because of this temperature change that we have coming towards us. You can see all this heat that's going to start pushing through as we look in towards Manitoba. You can see all that cold air moving up as this warmth comes in towards us, and looking for temperatures rebounding back into those seasonal values throughout the next couple of hours. Really, we're going to see a nice big change for us. That's going to be great news. We're going to be watching for a little bit of snow coming our way. This is Sunday into Monday. I want you to watch this system coming up from Alberta, crossing in towards us. You can see it slowly building. Here it comes. Come on, let's go, chop, chop. And you can see this snow. That's going to be our snowmaker starting into next week. The bulk of the snow will be in the north starting Sunday night, but we won't see much of that tonight or in towards Saturday. It's mostly going to be Sunday into Monday. All right, let's take a look now at our conditions for this evening. In towards Red Lake, we're going to watch snow ending overnight tonight, -22 as our overnight low. We're going to look for a chance of snow in Winnipeg and Gimli and Barons River overnight tonight. We're going to watch for a chance of snow as well towards Swan River and Dauphin. Keep in mind, we are going to be watching for wind chill values still into those mid to low -30s. Tomorrow, your wake-up wind chill in Churchill, -36. That's going to be the same for in towards Dooley Lake and the York area as well. -36 is your wind chill for tomorrow morning in Swan River. Looking for -16 as your daytime high. Looking for -17 tomorrow. Chance of morning snow in Winnipeg. And we're going to be looking for lots of cloud and a chance of snow in northwestern Ontario as well, Janet.
Thank you, Fiona.
You're welcome.
It's been weeks of planning and years in the making. Churchill High School here in Winnipeg is celebrating its first Black History Festival. The school has transformed its gym into a cultural hub full of food, information booth, music, and people. CBC's Jim Agapito had a chance to speak with organizer Nico Perrott about the festivities.
This is a proud moment for you. You have such a big event happening. People get to learn about the various cultures that make up, Black History Month. Tell me, what does that feel like?
It's just great to make the students of Churchill understand and learn more, because they know already, but to understand and celebrate it and not just know about it in quiet.
We kind of came together back in January, and they decided we wanted to do something in honor of Black History Month. So with a lot of planning and lunch hours and after schools, we came up with a few activities that we have done throughout the month, including an assembly and then a big festival for today. But it took a lot of work, a lot of time, and but well worth it.
This is the hair section. So here they can learn just black hair and just the different types of religions that are tied to the hair. For example, when slavery was a thing, like a major thing, we used to braid coordinations to how to escape through our cornrows and whatnot. And dreads in Jamaica, that's where my family's from. It's a religion of Rastafarian, and it comes from the Bible and whatnot. So it's hair plays a big role of strength and power that we come from. Music is just part of our history. It kind of uplifts us. And that's what got us through some tough times, and it's just ingrained in our systems. Here we have some very good artists that made significant impacts on the music industry, and as you can see, you could scan the codes and whatnot, and you get the playlist of Jamaica, Nigerian, Eritrean, all those.
We're here at a special table, right? Because I understand Mom's here.
Hey, my name is Donna Taylor. I'm the president for the Afro-Caribbean Association Manitoba. I'm so proud of him and the group of students that came together to put this all together.
This is bisap or sobolo sorrel, and it's basically hibiscus flowers that we mix, we just boil in hot water, and you can mix it with orange, pineapple, or how we call that, mangoes. But I put this time I put pineapple in them and just mix it with sugar.
Okay. What does it taste like?
To be honest, it tastes like a lemonade, kind of like a different flavor that you haven't had before.
It's a traditional bread from Eritrea and Ethiopia. And this is kind of just something that you would use to scoop some lentils. It's called lentils, and it's called Addis in Tigrinya.
Oh, it's good.
That's great.
Did you make this?
One of my friends did.
So what's the flavor?
Good.
I got some spice.
It's really spicy and it's really good. And it's mild, so it's not too spicy.
That's mild?
That's mild. That's mild.
I like it when you kick it up a bunch.
Yeah, this is mild. It can go way spicier than this.
No, okay, now it's burning.
Yeah, it's getting there.
I think in order to grow and move forward, that you need to understand where we've come from and how far we've come and the mistakes we've made in the past and how we can learn from that and move forward. So making that a part of our regular conversations in our classrooms, at events like this. I think that that is one of the most important pieces we can give to our students, is the knowledge of the past and then how we can improve and get better.
I'm so glad that they took the initiative to bring their idea to highlight Black History Month at Churchill High School, and I hope that it does continue once they leave.
So thanks for having me, everyone.
Thank you for coming!
Still ahead, a former professional basketball player highlights his Nigerian roots in a new athleisure clothing company. Paying it forward next. A former pro basketball player from Winnipeg is now highlighting his Nigerian roots in a company he co-owns. CBC's Marjorie Dowhouse met up with Ogo Okumabwa to learn more about athleisure wear company Zweke Inc.
Hi, my name is Ogo Okumabwa, and I'm a co-founder of Zweke. We sell premium athleisure clothing. My partner and I, Brian Salvador, came up with the idea, a vision of athleisure clothing. I mean, it's something, we both are from athletic backgrounds, and we're really excited about kind of thinking, what were the best moments of, being an athlete? And some people would say, hey, the sports, but it was actually, a lot of times it was the gear. Zwike means to relax, and it's from our dialect, Igbo dialect. We're both of Nigerian descent. So we decided, hey, you know what, let's call it something a little, pay homage to back home, and also, it's a unique kind of starting point to talk about, hey, relaxation.
What does it mean to you to be able to incorporate that into your business?
I think it's I don't think I would have done it when I was younger, but I think as you get older, you start to really tie into, my name is Ogo Kumabua. I mean, my parents came from Nigeria. They had their kids. I'm grown up as a Canadian, but they've always, my name still connects me back to my roots in Nigeria. And I think it's just great to kind of pay homage to where their work and testament, this is a little bit of their legacy, not just, me trying to start my own, but just being able to say, hey, you know what? This is my home. I'm proud of where I'm from. And when you're younger, sometimes you don't appreciate that type of stuff. But as you kind of get older and comfortable with yourself, you start to be like, yeah, you know what? That is something that's very important to me, and I think I'm to be proud of.
Ogo, tell us about the hoodies that you have here.
Okay, so this is our special collection we get. Every year we kind of do a special design that comes out during Black History Month, and we kind of talk a little bit about some of the different things. As you can kind of see, let me spray out this guy over here. We have some of the previous designs that we did kind of encapsulated in our badge. We have Patrice Lumumba, which was a great African leader over here. Winnipeg Buffaloes, and this was actually a baseball team before the Gold Eyes that was located here in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
February is Black History Month.
You bet.
What does it mean to you?
I mean, it's a neat question because I think it's every day of my life, right? So it's not necessarily a thing that I think, hey, you got February to celebrate Black history. I mean, I believe that it should be a normalized thing that's every day, every part of the year. I think it's also important, though, in terms of because it's not talked about so regularly, it's not part of curriculums, it's not part of everyday life. I think other cultures and other things, I think it's important just to have that infusion as a regular thing, so it doesn't have to become this unique novelty of a month that we only celebrate it. If you really want to learn about Black history, go and check out, you can get books, you can go to libraries, you can go online, there's a million different venues that you can really, if you're really interested in doing it, but also, hey, you know what, if you also get some of it just organically through talking through different people. I'm Black and I'm learning stuff about Black history every year, all the time, and it's not, it's not something that, hey, just because I'm Black, I know everything about Black history. I'm learning just like anybody else would naturally, right? Our Check on the Strong Ones campaign. We take proceeds from this shirt, also go to helping mental health kind of situations. We're about community building. We want to continue to see our community grow as we grow with it, and that's kind of why we've picked out a lot of different partnerships that are near and dear to our heart, and we'd just love to see our kind of community growing.
Your 7-day forecast and daily lift are still to come, so stay with us.
we have our last February flip-flop. We're going to see -17 on Saturday and then -7 on Sunday. Big warm-up on the way for our last weekend of February. And the last day of Festival as well. Looks like a nice day out there. A little snow coming on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Janet, Wednesday is the first day of March with 5 centimeters of snow on the way. I'm going to call it's coming in like a lion.
Oh, well, good. It'll go out like a lamb.
Yes.
I like that.
Exactly.
Well, not only is this the last weekend of Festival, but it's also Polar Bear Weekend at Assiniboine Park Zoo.
And there are going to be lots of activities, and there's even a special selfie station so you can see what you'd look like if you were a polar bear.
What? Well, maybe you'd end up looking like one of the stars in our daily lift. Yeah, these guys, to celebrate International Polar Bear Day Monday, the Manitoba Field Unit of Parks Canada shared some of these photos. These are their favorites. Selfies of real polar bears snapped by remote cameras up in Wapusk National Park, which is just south of Churchill, right on the shores of Hudson Bay. The cameras start firing at 1-second intervals when they're triggered by motion, but like as far away as 22 meters. But Parks Canada says polar bears come right up to the cameras.
Oh, they love that camera, get their good side.
I think they know how darn good looking they are, right?
Oh, that's cute.
Have a fabulous weekend.
Good night.
See you on
Take care.
Monday.